Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting some key details in regards to the potential Donald Trump assassination, the second attempt against Trump. This one, not nearly as dramatic as it was not caught on camera, but you can see the suspect has been identified as Ryan Wesley Roth, who kind of weirdly has like an American flag in his profile, but apparently he was a big supporter of the war in Ukraine, which is a very democratic, line of thinking. Please send every weapon we have to Ukraine. Please put all of our military personnel on paid leave so they could go and fight for Ukraine as civilians if they wish. Obviously, not very intelligent saying all that. That doesn't really matter at this point, considering it looks like he tried to kill Trump. If this is the correct person, this was the photo of him possibly being apprehended after fleeing. It looks like what happened is he tried to shoot Trump. Whether or not he got any shots off, that's a little bit cloudy right now. There's been multiple reports that I've seen. One report was that he fired and then they fired at him, they being the Secret Service. Another one was that the Secret Service saw his gun barrel and fired at him, and he fled and left his AK, which apparently also had a scope, and we can see his nest that he was in. Looks like right outside behind a fence line where one of the holes was with Trump, and there's Trump's reaction. We've got everything that's coming here in the next few minutes. I'm going to be going over it, but then he possibly, after fleeing, leaving his AK in the bushes, because that's where it reportedly was. It's like he tries to shoot Trump or tries to get a shot on him. They see his gun barrel. They shoot at him. It scares him. He leaves his gun in the bushes. He flees and then possibly jumps in his car and then gets apprehended somewhere in the road. And then that's possibly a photo of him after being apprehended outside of his car by the police. That would be my speculation on what's going on in that photo. But you can see this is another thing. Please help Ukraine. So, dear media. So it looks like he supports Ukraine. And it looks like this is another person that has severe Trump derangement syndrome, which is a very deadly, bad thing, because at this point, it is potentially going to cost Trump his life. And the worst part of it all is a lot of these liberals, I mean, they're genuinely, again, disappointed. They're disappointed that Trump did not die. And there's been a lot of posts by them again. And so it's just like, this is the slow moving car crash that we always talk about. It's like, at some point, it's actually going to happen. Well, this is the second one. Trump obviously has, even with the horrible security in the first one, he's going to have security personnel surrounding him. It's not this easy thing unless there's crazy collusion, which in the first attempt, you could argue that there seriously was. President Trump was between 300 and 500 yards from the suspect when they were able to confront him. You can see that's just the thing that I talked about. This would have been the sniper's nest, kind of a blurry photo. There's the weapon right there. Looks like he also had a GoPro for whatever reason. I'm not sure if he planned on streaming this event, or I mean, I would imagine that's what it would be for. What else would it be for? We have heard of people that had like a suicidal mission. We have heard of those type of things happening in the past where people wear a GoPro. You've also got this woman, expected this, just not so soon. This is kind of ironic. No ears were harmed. Carry on with your Sunday afternoon. Sorry you're triggered. I mean, no, I'm not. I don't care one bit. Well, aren't you the one that's triggered considering Trump didn't die? So shouldn't we be laughing at you? Because isn't that the whole point of these people? They want Trump to die, and they're making a joke out of it. And then they're saying, oh, we're the ones that are triggered. No, aren't you triggered? You're triggered. Trump's still alive. That's a second assassination attempt. And the thing is, it's almost like they're taunting us. They really are. They're taunting us. They're like, this is what we can do. It doesn't matter. We'll try and kill him. He'll barely survive. He'll start bleeding. It doesn't matter. They call it fake. They said it was fake blood. They completely memory hole it, forget about it. Then they try and this dude who seems like a liberal who probably was listening to Rachel Maddow. I mean, Rachel Maddow says that Trump's going to put her in a camp. That's what Rachel Maddow said. And so when you listen to stuff like that, and you've got the Lincoln Project the day after Trump almost died back in June, putting out an ad that in the same ad, it's Trump and then it's Hitler. It's the same ad. It's the day after the assassination. Then when you have things like that, that's what causes it. And then it's just gaslighting. And it's like, Trump is the cause. Trump is the reason. Remember, they tried saying that Crooks was a conservative and a Republican. And I guess they were trying to swing it like, oh, he's an angry Republican going against Trump. Obviously, it's totally ridiculous. We got Crooks's Gab message. He's one of those crazy liberal lunatics that you would find on our Reddit, or excuse me, our politics, the subreddit, who's just completely deranged. And that's the typical these people. These people want Trump to die. So like, yes, if you tell me that kid is one of the Reddit crazed liberal, people in the echo chambers, I mean, that makes sense. This is who these people are. They need to embrace this. They don't like people, so they try and kill them. That's what they do. That is their party. They should just embrace it at this point. Good. It's better to embrace it. This is good. This is learning. You're embracing it. Their political strategy is they don't like political opponents, so why not just kill them? It's good that she's at least embracing her political strategy here. This is the picture of the man. He's 58 years old. They've obviously identified his name since then. Officials on why Trump didn't have Secret Service protection surrounding him at the golf course. He isn't the sitting president. So this is hilarious because obviously Donald Trump at this point, based on our current president, Donald Trump is the most important person in the United States right now. And they know it. And it's like they're taunting, well, Biden gets all the protection. They don't even care what Biden does. Biden spends 70% of the time at this point in Delaware vacationing. I mean, Biden is just not needed. They don't want Biden around the White House. They don't care. They want it to be the full Kamala show. Why would they want Biden there? He does nothing to help. I mean, he was seen wearing the Trump hat. He put the Trump hat on kind of as a joke, but that's like the big thing that Biden's done within the past month is do that. So the whole thing like, oh, he's not the president. Well, who is the president? I mean, it's like they make it so obvious to where they really don't care about Biden, and the entire thing was a charade. And once it was obvious that Biden was going to be out of it and they didn't need to kind of do the whole fake facade of Biden actually doing something. My phone just fell. They don't need to do the fake facade of Biden doing something. They just move on to Kamala and tell Biden, just go to your beach house in Delaware. Nobody cares at this point. Suspect was armed with an AK-47, a scope. The AK-47 had a scope. That's what I speculated in the last video. It wasn't revealed, but now it is. 2 backpacks and a GoPro camera. We never got the full story from Butler. Why should we? No, I mean, there's not even going to be anything close to a full story. The only reason we know as much as we do with Butler was because it was recorded. Now this is possibly not. Maybe there'll be some, you have to hope maybe there's some security. Will it get leaked? I don't know. But in terms of us really knowing anything from the FBI, they're already hiding the crook stuff, even though it was on camera and we all saw it. And they blamed a sloped roof that had, the angle is nothing. It's like a 15-degree angle. You've got the FBI just announced that they have responded to the West Palm Beach, Florida, are investigating what appears to be an assassination. So the FBI, this was the FBI admitting that, this is an assassination attempt against Trump. It was originally reported that potentially it was some type of shooting surrounding it and that they didn't know what it was, maybe between 2 civilians, but that's not what it was. It was the Secret Service engaging with the potential assassin. That seems to be how that played out. MSNBC blames the second assassination attempt on Trump. Well, yes, this whole thing, you have to understand their viewpoint. So the first one, it's Trump's fault. The second one, it's Trump's fault. If Trump gets shot in the face, they're going to blame Trump. And they're going to say, well, that was his rhetoric. He lived life like that. And, that's karma. Guys, that's what they're going to say. If Trump gets assassinated, they'll say it's karma 1,000%. So no matter what happens to Trump, I mean, it's like, it's so crazy, but they think Donald Trump should die. The left thinks that Donald Trump should die absolutely, because their reaction when Trump, if something actually happens to him, is karma. The problem with this now, though, it keeps coming up. It's like, well, let's say Trump wins. How worried are we going to be when he's the president-elect? Because then he's got another target on his back. This is just something that's going to keep coming up and keep coming up and keep coming up. And it's a huge problem because this is 2 times now. Imagine it gets to 3 times, 3 failed attempts, and then they do it a 4th time. It's like, what kind of, I mean, these people are totally deranged, and they're not doing this because Trump's rhetoric. They're doing it because liberals tell them that Donald Trump is Adolf Hitler. That's what they tell them. The Lincoln Project tells them that. This is not a joke. They have videos comparing the 2. This is why they're doing it. It's not because Donald Trump is saying stuff. Why? It just makes no sense. So Donald Trump says rhetoric and they say, oh, I'm going to shoot you. No, it's MSNBC and the fear-mongering, and Trump's going to turn us into a dictatorship and the fascism. And Hakeem Jeffries, after almost to celebrate the assassination attempt, tweets out that Republicans are, like domestic terrorists, and it's all the same crap that they do. It is really, really bad. I'm told that the shooter's position on the golf course possibly would have had a line of sight on President Trump had he had not been stopped when he was. So yes, he got stopped while he was playing golf. You've got more details on the shooter in the vicinity of Trump. Hannity, who spoke to him, he first made sure that everyone was okay. So this was Trump's response to the scare. Trump said that he really wanted to finish the hole. So he wanted to finish, and he had a birdie putt. They were not harmed, they're unsafe. So that's just Trump joking a little bit about the situations. We know how good he is with situations like that, saying he wanted to finish. He had a birdie putt, but they had to rush him off because of the potential shooting. And it seems like it could be they saw the gun and they shot at the potential assassin. That seems like what it could be, at least from here. CNN reporting that the officials believe that the shots that were fired were intended for Trump. That was the original breaking stuff that I saw that confirmed that it was another assassination attempt. So that is just an update on what's going on. Obviously, this is very distressing. It's almost like a powerless type thing because these people genuinely think that Trump should die. All of the mainstream media that's left, they think that Trump should die. And it's like, what are we doing here? We're going to be headed for a really, really, really big problem in this country when you've got people that think like this and think that, your political opponent should be assassinated. There's going to be a lot of very, very angry people if something actually happens. And there were pretty much every single Republican influencer that came out after the first attempt and said it's going to happen again. And at this point, liberals can't even argue because the first one they tried to hold the facade of, oh, Crooks is some Republican, and then it turned out he wasn't, but they kind of had forgotten about it at that point. And this one, I think they're just going to try and bury immediately. I mean, that's what a lot of people have said. It's just going to be buried because they can and because there was no, they were able to bury the Crooks one, even with Trump bleeding from the ear and people, the Secret Service trampling him to keep him safe after the shots were fired. I mean, it was recorded all the shots and when one of his supporters dying. And then we know how deranged they got and how triggered they got by Trump's strong response. They started like making fun of the firefighter that died because they were so triggered that Trump had such a badass response to that shooting. That's the psychology with these people. They got so angry that Trump had such strength under crazy pressure where you're almost killed, and he was able to do the fight, and the firefighter dies, and they start making fun of the firefighter's death. And now here they are. There's really nothing. I mean, these are crazy liberals. They're just going to keep trying to kill Trump. It's unbelievable. These people have lost their mind, but this is the mainstream media. If they say that, listen, if they say this dude's a fascist, he's going to come in, he's going to send people to camps. I mean, this is what you get. This is what you get. You're going to get people with the reaction. You're going to get people manipulated and brainwashed into thinking it, and they think it, and it's such a hive mind mentality. And unfortunately, this is the result. So we'll have to see what ends up happening, but this is going to be memory hold really quickly, I'm sure, because there's no real video of it. Maybe we'll get, the only thing I can think of, maybe we'll get someone to leak a lot of, or you know what? It was at Trump's, this should be good because it was at Trump's golf course. So I'm sure Trump would be more than willing to, as long as it's legally okay to send out that the video of the potential assassin and where he was set up and everything like that, because any of this publicity on this is good for Trump. So he needs to keep it in the news cycle because it makes people feel bad for him and it galvanizes the people in the Republic against the establishment for trying to take out Trump. So Trump needs to keep this a big story. He needs to release all that he can, and it happened on his premises. It's his security cameras. It's his footage. Could the FBI try and say, no, it's an investigation, you can't release anything? I don't know. I don't know if it would even matter. I'm just trying to speculate to keep this story in the news cycle. Obviously, we don't want this to happen ever, but I'm saying this is good for Trump. It makes people feel bad for Trump and relate to Trump, and it goes to show you that they're out to get Trump, and they don't want you to be able to vote for Trump this election. They want to take that ability away from you. Trump needs to hammer that home and really use that to bring the country and bring the citizens, not the establishment liberals, not the establishment Republicans. It's the citizens together to make sure we elect Trump because that's how Trump's going to get elected. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.